Hi guys, so today I'm going to be talking about how I got better from POTS, and I want to clarify that by better I just mean better than before. I don't mean cured, I literally mean better. And I wanted to give a bit of background with that. So I was very ill with POTS for 2 years, to the point that I was bedbound. I couldn't really even sit on my sofa. I would faint upon standing, and like I said, I couldn't really even sit up. And that was really hard, but as you can see, I'm much better now. So I wanted to talk about that and how I got to this point. There are going to be 3 sections of this video. One will be medication, one will be lifestyle changes and practical tips, but both of these things, they're going to be things that I've had experience with and not just the bog standard NHS website like what you get when you look it up. Because sometimes when you look up POTS, the things that they say help don't help, and also sometimes they will just say things like, oh, you'll grow out of it, and that's not very helpful because a lot of us don't grow out of it. And in the 3rd section, I don't know how to sum up, but we'll talk about that after the medications. So in terms of medication, and that's a big point in itself, there's medications that really can help you, and a lot of the time this is the thing that can get the ball rolling in your recovery. It might be a trial and error period for you to find the ones that help, but we're going to talk about some of those. So some of the main medications are ivabradine and also beta blockers, and there's many different types of beta blockers. Both of these medications lower your heart rate, and of course that's the main problem with POTS, so inherently those ones can make that better and make you feel better and mean that you're able to do more. So that really helps me. There's also a medication called midodrine, and midodrine is really helpful if either you have low blood pressure or if you're using it in conjunction with a beta blocker. That one can also lower your heart rate, but in my experience it more so tackles blood pressure. I know this bit seems very information heavy and like I'm just throwing that at you, but maybe you can pause this and write some of this down. And then there's a steroid, which is actually quite a mild steroid called fludrocortisone, and that one can help bring up your blood volume, which sort of contends with a lot of the problems associated with POTS. So they are the main medications that people have success with, and like I said, if you're in the beginning stages or you haven't tried many medications yet, they can be really good places to start, especially beta blockers, as you don't need to get them from a specialist. Your GP can even prescribe something like that if you really need it, so it's something to look into. And then as a secondary source, of course you can look this up yourself because there are many other medications. It's just the ones that I mentioned tend to be the most helpful and the ones that are prescribed first. So the next factor that helped me get better, and you need to bear with me because I'm going to explain it, the next factor is basically time, and that your body does get used to what it's dealing with and it does sort of adjust and start to heal from it. But I want to make clear that that is not the same as growing out of it. When doctors tell you that you'll probably grow out of it, it implies that your body is just going to get over it and it's just going to go away, and that wasn't really the case for me, because for one thing I still have it, so it's not like I've grown out of it and it's gone away. And also when POTS has a cause like connective tissue disorder, your body is still faulty in that way, so how can you grow out of a fault in collagen, for example? So yeah, I don't think I've grown out of it, but I do think my body has got more resilient and has naturally started to adjust to what it's dealing with. And I also wanted to say that it's not a quick process. So I had those 2 years where I didn't seem to be having any improvement. It wasn't like I was gradually getting better, it did just feel constant. So if you're in that state and you're thinking, oh, well, it's not going to get better for me because it hasn't so far, that definitely doesn't mean it's never going to happen. I remember when I was about 2 years into being bedbound, I really was at my wit's end, and I was just thinking, you know, what a life is this where I'm just stuck in my bed. I could get up for maybe 5 minutes at a time, but I couldn't even sit in the front room to watch a film with my family, and that was horrible. But like I said, even though it was like that for 2 years, around the 2 to 3 year mark, I did start getting better. So even if you're in that deep, horrible stage now, and even if you're at the point that I was, because it wasn't just standing up that was hard for me, my body couldn't even deal with the postural change of sitting. So even if it's really bad for you, even if it doesn't seem like it's getting better at the moment, there is still hope that it can. And like I said, it's probably not going to be the case that you grow out of it, but your body can sort of heal from it. And things like medication, like I said, sometimes that can support your body and almost kickstart it into knowing how to function again. I think that probably was a factor for me, and I haven't tried it. That sounded so defensive. I would be open to trying it, I just haven't tried it. But people take CBD medication or capsules, or I don't really know. They take some form of CBD and that can do a similar thing, where once it sets your body in the right direction, then your body almost kickstarts and knows how to be a better body again. And then the last way that I got better was by making lifestyle changes. So doctors, and when you look it up, will say to drink more water and to eat more salt, and that can be really helpful, but actually that wasn't the thing that made a difference for me. So I'm going to be talking about the things that did make a difference, and all of the things that I had to learn on my own from experience and trial and error, and you know, the things that doctors can't tell you, you can only learn from living it. So one important thing that I do is that when I wake up, I will just stay in bed for at least half an hour, and in that time I take meds and I have a glass of water, and then I just stay in bed for half an hour. And during that time I still try to be productive, so I do my whole skincare routine in bed, I do makeup, I make notes for the day ahead, or I just go on social media if that's what I feel like doing. But the point is that I give myself time for my body to readjust. So I'll normally prop my pillows up and then sit propped up for at least half an hour to let my body get used to that. And I don't know, it sounds so simple, but that's helped me so much. And you'll probably find that there are things that you can do in bed as well, so you're not wasting that time. I don't feel like I'm at a disadvantage with that, it's just part of my day, and it is a bit different, but it's not worse. The next lifestyle change I made is using a shower stall. I used to faint in the shower, and actually, even though I'm better now, the shower is one thing that I still can't do without fainting. But with my shower stall, it enables me to do that. I know this can be quite a big step mentally because it's a physical representation of your life now, but actually your shower stall is in a private place, it's in your bathroom in your home. Nobody has to know about it if you don't want them to, and it can make such a difference to your quality of life. So because I used to faint in the shower, one, that was dangerous, but two, it would make me feel so ill afterwards, whereas now I can just go and have a shower and it's relatively okay, and then I don't have a recovery process as much. And in a similar way, mobility aids are the same. So depending on your condition, a mobility aid might be helpful for you, so things like walkers and wheelchairs. I've stressed in my other videos that these are okay to use for POTS, which kind of sounds like a silly point to make, but I know that when I was very ill, it still didn't cross my mind for quite a while. I think I was under the impression that those things were for other people and not for me, but if it's going to help, then that is absolutely okay. And for me personally, because sitting up was so hard, the wheelchair and things like that didn't decondition me. If anything, I was just making strides forward, I was sitting up for longer, I was getting out of the house, and it was just really helpful to me. I do still use them with caution, and I don't use them when I don't need them, so around the house for example. That sort of thing is fine for me, but if you really need it, then use it. And I actually have a few videos on POTS tips and advice, so I'll link them up here somewhere, and those videos give a lot more practical tips. There's a lot of things I do that I don't even realise I'm doing, so those videos should be quite helpful for that. And my last practical tip is that there are some times that I do drink more water. So I have a glass of water and a salty snack in the morning before I get out of bed and before I have a shower, and I can't think of anything else. But if there's anything that I think will make me feel really potsy, then I also do that. So I think they were all of my tips. I hope you find them helpful, and if not, I hope the thing you take away from this is that it can get better. There can be a light at the end of the tunnel. I never thought I would be living the life that I am now a few years ago. I just felt so hopeless, and especially after I got my diagnosis, I thought things were going to get much better, and then it really took a while. I thought after the first couple of medications didn't give me instant relief, I just thought, oh no, what now? But actually it can still be okay, and it probably will be okay. I know, like I said, the self-healing thing, that can take a few years. That seems really long, but it's also not as long when you know that it's only going to be a few years. So sorry if this was rambly. I just know how hopeless that can feel, and I'm so sorry if you're feeling that, but I hope this can give you a little bit of hope, and especially from someone who I don't know, I feel like my POTS was just really horrific at some stages, and I've heard people get better from it when they were just fainting upon standing, but when it makes you just feel sick and ill in general, I wanted to hear stories that weren't miracle cures, that weren't overnight, and something that related to my circumstance. And this is exactly that, because it is from my circumstances. So thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you liked it. I never normally do that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and subscribe if you'd like. Bye! And I also wanted to say, I don't know, I have no idea what I wanted to say. Yes? Hi Rona, I'm just filming a video. Come in, love.
Sorry.
What is it? We're literally just about to do the outro.
Wait, is this... No, but why am I going to come in? I'm going to disturb you. Hi! You know what? I'll leave you to it.
Okay.